That was a miracle. That breath you just got was a miracle. It was the presence of God made manifest in your ability to live. Look out these windows. Beautiful, magnificent trees. Mother Nature doing what Mother Nature does. And every day it is a miracle. We can either look at it or not and know the miracle, or we can not pay attention to it and go through asleep. I suggest with all my heart that we look at everything that's happening in this life as the magnificent miracle of God expressed that it is. Today I was talking about the fog. There's not quite as much fog out there as there was earlier today, but I love fog. Am I the only one? Around here, people are like, oh, it's foggy. I think I'll stay home. I'm glad you all didn't. The fog is a beautiful miracle. I don't know what causes it all. I don't need the science behind it, but I look out and I go, it's like living in the mystery. Here at Unity North, we live in the mystery, the ordinary miracles and why they happen, when they happen, how they happen. Let's just be in the mystery and let's be grateful. Let's be thankful that that mystery is happening. There's also a fog that happens sometimes on the inside. The fog on the outside is beautiful. The fog on the inside of my brain isn't always quite as beautiful. I usually give the talk titles a month in advance. And I give it to the music team and to the staff, and they do all the appropriate things. And then getting closer to the day, I prepare the talk. So I gave the talk title a month ago, a little over a month ago. Said, we're on the hero's journey, the call of commitment, the hero's call of commitment. And this week I began working on the talk I wanted to write for today, and I felt so good. I did not check my notes. I did not check what I told everybody. But I wrote this magnificent talk about the hero's call to community. Well, I was in the right alphabet. There was a fog in my head. But the more I sat with it, I called Julie and I said, that song doesn't fit. And she says, you told me it was the power of commitment. I'll make it fit. I drove up in the marquee, said the power of commitment, and said, you know what? It's all the same thing. Today, as we end this month, which is the hero's call, I want to talk and retitle my talk to the hero's call to commit to community. Say that with me. The hero's call to commit to community. It's vitally, vitally important. When we think about the heroes, the first thing that comes to mind for most human beings, do we have any slides up there? Is somebody changing slides today? Because I don't need the lyrics. Oh, there it is. It's back there. I'd like to see what I'm going to say, that I don't have to walk over there. See, it's even changed between first service and second service. It happens. But when you think about the hero's call, the first thing that comes to mind are like the Lone Rangers of the world. The solo entities that are going off to face the demons, the dragons, the elements alone, alone, alone. And that's what comes to mind. Batman, Robin, Batman and Superman, Wonder Woman, all these great heroes. The Lone Ranger. Let me tell you, the Lone Ranger was nothing without Tonto. Lone Ranger would have been dead in the desert if Tonto wasn't there to pick him up. So why is it that we go to that place and we think about the hero, committing to be a hero? You cannot realize and manifest your hero-ness without the collective behind you, with you. And if you examine these great masters of heroic deeds, Batman was doing good for the collective. Gotham City needed Batman. He was not doing it for himself. Superman was about Metropolis. Wonder Woman was all about the tribe of Amazon women. You see, their mindset was not about getting mine. It was not about me, myself, and I, and rising to my greatest light and magnificence and power alone. It was about doing it for a collective. And let me tell you, Batman was nothing without Robin. And you know what the unsung hero of the Batman and Robin comic strip? You know the name of the butler? Nobody remembers. The hero, the absolute hero at the center of the story was Alfred. He was, what did you say, Michael? Oh, Michael Caine. I guess I'm older than you. I go back before Michael Caine. There was some English guy. He was always there for whatever Batman and Robin needed. He thought of it before they thought of it. He was there. And let me tell you, when Batman and Robin were tied up in the Joker's lair or in the Penguin's lair, Alfred suddenly always came through. Now, Alfred got no applause, no trophies or recognition, yet he was a hero. And Batman and Robin understood they needed Alfred. There was a community there. Superman, when the tights came off. I was going to say, when the tights came off, Lois Lane was there for him. That's whew, it's getting hot in here. But the reality is Peter Parker and Lois Lane were getting their brains picked so that Superman could become the hero. You see, is Peter Parker in the Marvel universe? Who was the guy with Lois Lane? Jimmy Olsen. See, he got no applause. I don't even remember his name. Yet Jimmy Olsen was a hero. What necessary hero. We're coming into the Super Bowl right now. Next week is the Super Bowl. And let me tell you, the greatest quarterbacks of all time are the ones that will recognize that those guys on the front line are the reason they're successful. Nobody applauds for the center. Nobody applauds for the left guard or the right guard. But let me tell you, Tom Brady is nothing without those guys in the front. Tom Brady is nothing without a running game. And let me tell you, we're exchanging energy as co-creators, collaborators on the hero's journey. When Tom Brady throws a pass, there has to be a hero at the other end. Otherwise, they don't win the game. Now, at the risk of getting attacked here, I hope that the Eagles are the heroes next week. And actually, in Unity North, we're all about believing in the possibility. I'm still hoping that the Falcons can be a hero anytime. We're wearing the red colors today. The reality is we are in this together, and when we examine the spiritual path, the heroic journey, Jesus also had a collective around him, a community around him. He gets all the credit, but let me tell you, he was very, very purposeful in collecting energies around him that were necessary. 12 apostles were called intentionally to fulfill a role, to play a role. And if you think they were the only ones, they just didn't get the credit. They got the credit. The women didn't get the credit. He surrounded himself with powerful women who nobody paid any attention to, but he had a team. They weren't Amazon women like Wonder Woman had, but they were vital energies and important energies for him to have to fulfill his mission. The change of the planetary paradigm could not have happened without the community. They were there for counsel. They were there for support. They were there to demonstrate how you screw up and you get past screwing up. But the Christness of his very being could not and would not have happened without the apostles and the women that were around him. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, talks about the energies within us that must be in perfect balance, that must be called forth. And any one of those 12 powers or faculties is out of balance or not recognized, you will not reveal the Christ of your very being. The light that you are will not shine. We must be in a partnership and recognize that this is a system. This being in the human journey, this body, this mental capacity is all a system that must rely upon more energies than me, myself, and I. We must absolutely look at the importance of community on the spiritual path. So many times in New Thought, we think, oh, we're like the Lone Ranger. It's all about the Lone Ranger. And if you think that people out there are the only ones that are selfish in that environment, think again. Time after time after time, people come into a metaphysical, spiritual community and they say, I'm here to get. I get what I need. And then when I don't get my needs met anymore, I'm going to go out and go somewhere else. You've missed the experience of God when you do that. When you're here only for yourself, you have missed the wealth that is available on the spiritual path to heroic being. You will not ever be the Christ. Jesus absolutely talked about that when he wanted to wash their feet. Their feet? I'm getting going, folks. When he wanted to wash their feet, he said, either you let me wash your feet or I have nothing to do with you. Why? Because he saw that we were necessary as collaborators on the path. I need to serve as well as get. I need to give as well as receive. And you cannot give and receive if you are a Lone Ranger. If you're walking through the desert alone, not giving as well as receiving, you're going to be like the Lone Ranger in the desert without Tonto. You will be dead, and your spiritual path is dead, plain and simple. We're in this together, and we need each other. Not out of lack, not out of weakness. That's not a negative, but sometimes negative is okay. It's out of realizing our full potential. We need each other. It is realizing our full strength, our full possibility, that we lean into each other, then something can happen. The light can shine. The 12 powers are working not only internally but externally, and something beautiful happens, and the Christ is not localized in one person, but it's localized in an entire human race. That is our job. Humanity's problems today. Anybody notice that humanity's got a few challenges? I believe it finds its roots in a mindset that says survival of the fittest. I'm taking care of my business. I got it handled. I'm the hero. And that's all that matters. That is weakening our system. It's weakening our planet. It's weakening our humanity. We belong to each other. And this me, myself, and I is tearing down the fabric of the whole. It's what St. Paul talks about. St. Paul says, how dare the hand say to the foot, I don't need you. I'm just going to be my handness. That's all I need. Or the eye to the ear. It is a collaborative whole, a collaborative system that is localized here, that is localized here, and it is localized far beyond these walls. So let's tear down the man-made constructs of divisiveness, of boundaries and borders and religion, and say, hey, how about we just walk this hero's journey together and answer the call to commit to that truth, not just when it's comfortable and not just when it's easy. I love Mother Nature. How many people have seen the geese that fly south or north depending on the weather? Yeah. It's not an accident. There are no accidents in this world. They're in a formation for a divine purpose. It makes it easier for the ones in the back. And we think, oh, the hero must be the goose that's in front. That's the hero. Well, at that moment, that goose is the hero. But here's what I love about that formation. At any given moment, one of the geese is taking their turn at the front. Your turn, your turn, your turn. And when it's not my turn to be at the front, I go to the back, and what do? Honk. 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 What the geese are saying, I know because I speak goose fluently, is that you can do this. And beyond you can do this, they're saying, we can do this. We've got this. I believe in you. Thank you for being in the front. Thank you for being the one that's leading the way. I'll take my turn in about 5 minutes. And there's a collaborative exchange of energy that allows the geese to get to their destination. Here's the truth. They would not make it without the collaboration. Not one goose, not two goose, not three. They could not make it to their destination without the community. They are a hero, yes, and individually a hero, and collectively they are more heroic than any force on the planet. And here's what I love about that story. One goose gets sick, gets tired, has to go to the earth. 2 geese go down to the earth with that goose, and they wait there with them. And they hold sacred space. They bring him a prayer shawl. And they say, you're not alone. You're not alone. You can do this. Honk. And they wait until that goose either can fly again or passes. Then the goose that passes becomes part of a great collaboration because we are inseparable energetically. We've had some geese pass in the last couple of months. Those geese are in this room today, and they're saying, honk, honk, you can do this. You've got this. You're a hero. Yes? There was a study I saw on a TED Talk by Susan Pinker. I don't know if you saw this, but it was a study of centenarians. All the people who have lived over 100, and there's a little town in Italy where there are more centenarians on the planet than anywhere else in the world. And they did a study on why in the world they were successful, getting that old and being so incredibly healthy. Now, the human mind would say, well, they probably have a really good diet in that part of the world. They considered that. Diet was down here on the list. Oh, they must exercise a lot. Yes, they must be really physically active. Exercise was down here on the list. Well, it's just probably their DNA. They're just lucky. They were born that way. DNA was somewhere up here. Number 1 on the list, the reason these people live to be 100, scientifically proven, they rely on each other. A sense of intimate community. That I know you're going to be there when I fall, and I'm going to be there when you fall, and we're all going to celebrate together. And the energy that is exchanged in that will allow us to grow, not only to be a centenarian, a healthy one, full of strength, body, mind, spirit, but to be reaching our destination long after we're 100, 105, and some of those people, I believe, are 112 in that city. There's something for us to pay attention to. So, what are the benefits? What are the benefits of a hero on this path of community? I've got 4 for you. There's probably 1,000. Here they are right now. Wins, joys are increased. When we're together, the wins they are amplified. There's a greater light available to all of us. Number 2, pains and difficulties will always be lessened. When we share the burden, it's easier for all of us. Number 3, and this is where most people end up leaving community, it exposes our best. We get a chance to shine when we're in community. Honk, honk, you can do this, you can do this. Come on, Batman, come on, Superman, come on, Wonder Woman. But it also exposes your worst. We're going to bump up against each other when you're in community. That's the choice and the commitment and the fire that will refine you to be the hero that you are. And number 4, immeasurable spiritual increase. See, we have spiritual mathematics here. And when we are joining in community, 1 + 1 no longer equals 2. And I'm going to prove that to you in a minute. 1 + 1 = 3 in exponential increase. Let's break it down. Number 1. I want to tell a story. Wins and joys are always increased when we're in community. There was a study done, 2 different classrooms. One with elementary school kids. One was the normal group in a normal classroom. And then the other class was a Down syndrome group of children. And they had the same instructions. They tied balloons onto the ankles of all the children. They said on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, the last person standing with a balloon on their ankle wins. Okay, great. 1, 2, 3. In the normal school, competition and chaos ensued. Everybody went after it. Pop, pop, pop. It was aggressive. It was competitive. It was loud until one child was at the end and said, "Yes, I win." The non-normal kids, same instructions. 1, 2, 3. Here, pop mine. Here, pop mine. And a collaboration began to ensue, a cooperativeness, a working on the same team until all the balloons were popped and everybody joined hands and went, "We win." The human race, our survival as a human race is going to depend on a we win attitude. And when we're walking around as the Lone Ranger saying, "I win," somebody has to lose. A whole bunch of people have to lose. When we win, when I'm in this journey as much for you as I am for myself, something beautiful happens. The joy is increased. You want more joy? Go do something for somebody else. You want more good in your life? Go do something for somebody else. So when there's a celebration or something, a milestone in your life, a dream realized, what is the natural instinct that we all want to do? What is it? What do you do when you're happy? Are you never happy? Party. You want to hold somebody. My God, I got the diploma. Come hold me. I want to share it. It's an instinctual thing. I want to call somebody and I want to share it. You were designed to share the good, not to keep it private. And if you're the Lone Ranger in the desert, guess what? It dies. If a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody there to hear it, it doesn't make a noise. I say, if there is a great joy and a great awareness and enlightenment that's happening within your heart and you don't share it with somebody else, is it true enlightenment? If there's a deep understanding of the power of peace and I find it when I'm alone, is it true peace that falls apart the minute it's tested in community? Let me go test it. Let me go try it and be with you in community and find a deeper peace. See, you drive me to a deeper peace, a higher reality, because we are sharing the experience. The hand, the eye, the foot. St. Paul knew it. It's a collective whole. And when something good happens, go tell everybody. And when something good happens for them, hug that person. Love that person and say, "Yes, I'm happy for you." Honk. Honk. Number 2, pains and difficulties are lessened. I love this quote from the scriptures, Ecclesiastes chapter 4. 2 are better than 1, for if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. 2 are better than 1. This is scripture. I didn't make this up. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. Robin, Batman's down. Go help him out. An army of Amazon women will come to lift up Wonder Woman. You see, we are designed by nature to be spiritual life alert buttons for each other. You know the old commercial? I've fallen and I can't get up. Well, if you're a Lone Ranger, yep, you've fallen, you can't get up, you won't get up. You're in a community, you've made a commitment to the heroic exploration and adventure that is community. I've fallen and there's 3,000 people there to lift me up. There's a bunch of people that will rush in because their greatest spiritual awareness that's being cultivated is my service of you is good for the whole. It's good for me, it's good for you. It's everybody raises to a higher vibration. There is spiritual increase. We must recognize that. Another story for you. It was the Olympics, and 9 runners were poised to get the gold medal, waiting for the gun to go off. Julie's going to the race right now. 9 poised, and the gun went off, and 9 Olympic athletes went running around the track, full speed ahead. Halfway around the track, one of the runners fell down, hurt her leg, couldn't get up. And 8 Olympic athletes of the Special Olympics turned around and went, oh, natural instinct. They went back. 8 athletes went back, wrapped her arms around their shoulders, and there were 9 gold medals on the platform that day. When we talk about normal and not normal, let me tell you the greatest teachers I've ever had in my life were kids with Down syndrome who remind me that I have a lot of junk in the way of remembering that we belong to each other. We win. We win. We belong to each other. St. Basil, an early church leader, said this: living in a state of isolation, each of us is a little bit poorer. We talk about abundance. We talk about wealth. We talk about prosperity. Your greatest prosperity is going to be found within community and a commitment to community even when it gets difficult, because you're never going to achieve the highest state of vibration of prosperity or wealth until you're sharing it with somebody else. I'm in it for you as much as you are in it for me, and if I have good and abundance, I share it. And everybody, the system is higher, greater, and better. I saw Brene Brown talk just yesterday, and this is what Brene Brown had to say, so don't take my word for it. We are neurobiologically wired to take care of each other. You're wired that way. It's organic being. It's organic living. And if you're not taking care of somebody in your life, then you're not achieving the height state of that you were designed to be as the Christ, as the light, as the Buddha. Number three, community brings out our best and helps us realize our worst. Anybody have those voices in your head? The best is easy because you're surrounded by cheerleaders who love you and say, yes, shine, 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 honk, 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 honk. The difficulty here is that you're going to bring out the worst. When we bump up against each other, we're in a room full of personalities, aren't we? We're in a room full of opinions. We're in a room full of judgments. I'm right, they're wrong. I'm right, they're wrong. Oh my gosh, they're irritating. That voice is there in our head. Oh, but that is the beautiful voice for the hero to be listening to. Because what happens in that moment of grace and choice is I either run from the fire or I stand in the fire and say, these people have something to teach me. There is something about me, the hero's heart within my chest, that needs to be healed in such a way that I need to pay closer attention to these people who are driving me crazy. These people who make me feel angry. Well, here's the reality. Nobody can make you feel anything. You've invited in as a great producer in your life, your hero's journey. You've invited every player in to say, look at this, what energy, because you're playing it on the inside. Everything on the outside is a symbol of what needs to be dealt with and healed on the inside to become the hero. Carl Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. That takes a commitment to being in the fire. The book of Proverbs says, iron sharpens iron. Say that with me. Heroes sharpen heroes. Together, you need each other. And you may be over there, but the person you need, the hero you need, might be over here. Batman sharpens Robin, and Robin sharpens Batman, and Superman sharpens everybody. My dad used to tell me as an athlete, and I never understood it because it was really hard as a kid to continually fail and to lose. He said, go hang out with the people who are better than you at baseball, playing ping pong, playing tennis, bowling, whatever it was. Go hang out with the people who are better than you because you'll get better. And when I started hanging around with people that caused me to grow, that caused me to stretch, that caused me to work harder, I became a better baseball player, a better ping pong player, a better tennis player, and a better bowler. I was not quite into the real sports. Bowling and ping pong was my game. But the reality is it's a spiritual lesson we can learn. You want to grow, bump heads with somebody in the community and say, yes, we're about to discover something heroic about us individually and collectively. Stand in the fire and be refined. The community will cause the hero to access hidden potentials as they rise to a greater awareness and expression. Untapped resources in your Christ heart, your Christ being, your Buddha nature, the Atman of your very soul will be awakened by those moments of tension. Don't run from them. Finally, the immeasurable energetic and spiritual increase, number 4. How many people have ever seen beautiful Belgian horses before? It was part of my favorite going to the fair every year with our foster kids. We go look at the Belgian horses. They were magnificent. They were scary because they would tower over you. So gorgeous. And they're so strong. Do you know that one Belgian horse is so strong that it can pull 8,000 pounds of weight behind it? It's amazing. Simple mathematics would tell you, let's put 2 Belgian horses together, and they'll be able to pull 16,000 pounds of weight. That would be great. 1 + 1 = 2. But here it's proven by Mother Nature herself. 2 Belgian horses together pull 24,000 pounds of weight. There is an increase that happens. There is an exponential increase. 1 + 1 = 3. It's not humanly possible. It's not physically possible, but Belgian horses know it. I'm calling you to be a Belgian horse. And to understand the truth that when we come together and we sing songs together, when we hold prayer together, there is something underneath the surface that is happening that is more powerful than any human experience. Then when you go off into your hero's journey, which is your job, your family, whatever it is you do out in the real world, you've got an energy of a bunch of Amazon women, a bunch of believers, partners in believing, collaborators. The energy goes with you, and suddenly you're pulling more weight than you ever thought you could pull. You're accomplishing more than you ever thought you could accomplish. You're realizing dreams that everybody told you was impossible, but because you dipped and swam into the pool of a community and made a commitment to the community, you're now doing more, being more, experiencing more, and expressing more than you've ever experienced in your life. It makes no human sense, and the ego will tell you, oh, that's hogwash. I don't listen to the ego, I listen to the spiritual truth. And spiritual principle is true. I proved it in my own life, my own laboratory of life. When I join in community, I get more done. And I accomplish things I could not do alone. Jesus knew this when he said, where 2 or more are gathered in my name, there am I. He's talking about his nature, in the nature of possibility, in the nature of peace, of joy. He's talking about a quantum reality there. He's speaking from the level of the cosmos and not the level of a man, talking about human experience. He's calling out spiritual power. Let me gather 12 people around me and a whole bunch of women around me and go, let's all rise to a higher place. And then let me get out of the way so that you can be the hero now. That whole Easter story is about way more than we give it credit to be. It's a cosmological quantum reality that science is finally catching up with spirituality and showing it is true. Exponential increase, 1 + 1 = 3. 1 + 300 = infinity. I'm calling out your inner Batman. I'm calling out your inner Wonder Woman. I'm calling out your inner Belgian horse. To not shy away when it gets difficult, but to stand in the fire and to know that we are a collective that is the most powerful force on the planet. I believe it was Margaret Thatcher who said, make no mistake about it, that a small group of people can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. When it gets hard and it gets difficult, or you're tired and you don't want to be in the community, think again. Gotham City needs you. The human race needs you. I behold the Tonto that you are.